Good afternoon from sunny Cologne. I'm here rather spontaneously hopping around from coffee shop to coffee shop because the other day on April Fool's Day, this record shop that I'm eyeing, Good Mood Records, posted that they're offering all LPs on this one floor for €1 a piece. And if that claim is true, I'm gonna see what is left because I'm sure there's a lot that's already been taken and see if I can bring something home with me today. And if not, it'll just be a simple crate dig, but I'm looking forward to it because it does have a cool retro kind of vibe. And also just grabbed a batch brew while I was working at Holm Cafe Restaurant. Highly recommend it. Very laptop friendly, dog friendly, and they've got great coffee. Alright, so here I am in the basement of Good Mood Records, and I can confirm that I am in a good mood. So as you can see behind me, there are tons of boxes here, nearly full of records, all of which are €1. I'm surprised that there aren't more people here because it's just a fantastic deal. The majority of them I obviously don't know, but there are a few that I think I would definitely pick up. So let's see how long I need to come back with some records, but I will definitely come home with something. So a lot of what I'm seeing are things that I would see at your typical flea market. So a lot of like compilations, but there are definitely some classics here that are definitely not worth €1, in fact more. I have a feeling he got these for free somehow and doesn't really care how much he sells it for and is not willing to sort through them all because they are not sorted at all. But yeah, this is super fun. Never been to such a record shop that offers such an amazing deal. So it's been about a week or so since my haul, so I've given most records a listen at this point. So I just want to breeze through my overall record haul. I didn't just get €1 records, I got a few €10 records, I got one €5 records, and at the very end I'll reveal the final total. Now if I ever want to rickroll someone on analog, this is how I would do that. To be honest, I've always wanted this record. It's super cheap and it's unironically catchy and good. In my opinion, the first 4 tracks are bangers and low-key my guilty pleasure. So yeah, kicking it off with Rick Astley's Whenever You Need Somebody. Next up on the 80s pop train, I've got Kenny G's Duotones, which is more of a jazz pop album. This features his most iconic hit, Songbird. This is very digestible for those who are probably just getting into jazz, want something to play in the background, something that kind of gives you hotel lobby vibes. This is definitely the record to get and a great intro into Kenny G's music. It's a good mix of instrumental and vocal tracks, so you get a little bit of different kinds of flavor on this album. Next up, a widely popular one here in Germany is Tina Turner's Private Dancer. I see this all the time, but I feel like it recently popped up a bit more since she passed away in 2023. I just learned that she was widely successful in Europe and Germany in particular, so I guess that explains why I see it all the time. But this one features What's Love Got to Do With It, and also one of Tina Turner's best solo records of all time, so definitely a great intro record to Tina Turner. Another group that was widely successful in Germany is Barclay James Harvest. I see their records all the time. I picked up one earlier this year and was captivated by this cover. While it's not a gatefold, it does have a inner sleeve that comes out like that, so you can have the owl featured there or the sunset, depending on how you're feeling. This album is their most commercially successful album and features songs like Poor Man's Moody Blues, which was a response to a reporter who just said that they sounded like a poor man's Moody Blues. So they tried to get some inspiration from the band Moody Blues, but obviously made it their own, and probably the highlight track of this album. The next record I literally bought just because I like the minimalistic cover, and that is Alice 5 by the Japanese folk rock group Alice. On the back you see a flying Pegasus, but I love anything that's black and gold. So this was in pretty much near mint condition, as you can see. And it's a little bit left field for me, to be honest, but I'm trying to expand my music taste, and this definitely does the trick. More recently, I've been getting into classical music. At this point, I've got a couple handful of classical records, and this one I've been looking for a while. Anything to do with Mozart or Herbert von Karajan, you're pretty much guaranteed to have a great experience listening to it. And so this is Eine kleine Nachtmusik. Search that up on Google, you'll recognize the intro, which is one of the most recognizable classical intros. But so far, this has been the greatest to work to in the background. Most grand classical music is quite expressive and emotional, and this is also that, but has a lot more quieter moments. It is trying to give you the feel that it is taking place at night. So yeah, this has been on repeat actually this past week. Oh, by the way, if you are just getting into classical music, I highly recommend the record label Deutsche Grammophon. You'll know it by this yellow label. Their pricings are phenomenal, and you can pretty much guarantee a great experience when purchasing one of their records. Another one I've been playing on repeat this past week is a jazz record from the Ramsey Lewis Trio. Originally, this album actually has a black cover, but I think it got ripped off, as you can see. And similar to the Barclay James Harvest album, it kind of has like a double cover. But this one is great if you do like jazz, if you do like pop. There are covers here from the Carpenters and the Beatles. It wasn't one of his most commercially successful albums, but it's, in my opinion, a great listen. Something nice to play in the background. The jazz is not left field in my opinion, and it's very digestible for the average jazz listener. Now, since I've started collecting records, I've fallen in love with the guitar work from Carlos Santana, and he is widely popular here in Germany, so I see his records all the time. And so I just wanted to add to my collection. I ran into Welcome, which is a great representation of some jazz fusion, which was a little bit different to what he was doing in his earlier works, but a great record nonetheless if you do like Latin influence, rock, a little bit of jazz as well. So anything Santana, you have my attention. And to wrap up my €1 series, I have also been recently getting into electronic music, trying to understand the pioneers of electronic music, namely Klaus Schulze, Tangerine Dream here in Germany. But a household name, especially coming out of France, is Jean-Michel Jarre. This is Equinox. What's great about this album is, first of all, the cover is quite creepy, I have to say, giving you the feeling like you're being watched. This album is basically trying to reflect the life of humans from day to night, hence the word equinox, which is the term to describe the point in which the sun directly touches the equator, which happens twice a year. Very cohesive, very spacey, great use of synthesizers if you are into that kind of style of electronic music, and one of his most influential albums, as the tracks have appeared in pop culture in many different ways. But if you do want to get introduced to that 70s, 80s electronic music, especially coming out of Europe, Jean-Michel Jarre is definitely one to listen to. Now, heading to the ground floor of Good Mood Records, there were tons of €5 deals, and I've only picked up one that I personally recognized, and that was Anita Ward's Songs of Love. Before getting this record, I only knew 2 songs from her, and that was Ring My Bell and Spoiled by Your Love, I believe. But I believe she's quite underrated. She didn't really have a wildly successful career, but Ring My Bell ended up topping the charts. If you do like soulful and funky vocals from a female lead, this is definitely a great pickup. Extremely digestible and very fun in my opinion. So yeah, this was my only €5 pickup. And last but not least is my €10 pickup. Now, these are classic records in their own right, worthy of this price point for sure. Good Mood Records has a rather small but impressive electronic selection, and as I mentioned before, Klaus Schulze is quite popular in Germany, one of the pioneers of the OG synth-heavy electronic music of the 70s and 80s. So here I have Moon Dawn by Schulze. And as I was discovering his music, I listened to this album, and it's basically 2 tracks, one on side A and one on side B. side B titled Mind Phaser, and this song has one of the greatest drops I've ever heard in electronic music, so definitely listen to this front to back. It's great if you want to try the Pomodoro technique because both sides are approximately 25 minutes. Schulze pioneered the Berlin School genre of music, which is known to be atmospheric, sequence-driven, and hypnotic at times as well. And that's exactly what you get on Moon Dawn, one of his most notable records. This one also opens up as a gatefold with some cool pictures. I like the cohesive color scheme here as well, quite nice. And last but definitely not least, if you are into jazz, he needs no introduction. I've got some Miles Davis Sketches of Spain. Now this album, I've come to learn, has appeared on many all-time great lists. A rather underrated one in the jazz scene in my opinion, even though it is very beloved. This is a great jazz album with Spanish influence, some folk influence, and at the time was really pushing the boundaries of jazz music, which started out as an American genre, but having some European influence on this album really solidified Miles Davis as one of the icons, really someone who is known for pushing the boundaries of jazz music. And Sketches of Spain definitely does that and is absolutely a timeless listen. It's not a rare album by any means, but for 10 years I knew I had to get this one. It's also got Jill Evans on it, so if you know who that is, he is also extremely influential in the jazz world. So when you put those two heads together, you are bound to get something special. So altogether, my order came out to 35 euros because although I purchased 11 one-year records, the owner gave them all to me for 10. So this was one of the most fun crate digs I've ever had. If you do have a record shop in your neighborhood that has a nice, budget section, definitely have some fun there. Don't give yourself too much pressure going in, just go in with no expectations, and when you do that, you come home with something surprising, maybe something that you've always wanted, just wanted to save some money on it, and that's exactly what I did at Good Mood Records. So depending on when I post this, if it is still available, check out the offer, but in any case, check out Good Mood Records as they do offer 5-year budget records all year round. And for those who are new, if you did like the video, please like it if you did find value, subscribe if you'd like to see more. And as always, I like to remind my viewers to slow down, take a sip, and drop the needle. See you in the next one. Peace.